Hello, everybody, and welcome to White House Field here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. It is on the Cape Cod League, and that means one thing. It's time for Harwich Mariners baseball here on the Mariners YouTube Network. Hello, everybody. I'm Tyler Henry, and I'll be joined today, as always, by Colin Casey as the Harwich Mariners will come back home to White House Field to play host to the hottest team in the West. It's the Wareham Gatemen, who come into this game at 11-8-1, and more impressively, they are coming off of a two-game winning streak where they have been destroying opponents, the most recent of which was the Orleans Firebirds, who, Colin, looked really good at the top of the East just a couple of days ago, but they took a beating yesterday by a final of 15-4 from a team that puts 8 different guys in the lineup today with a batting average over 300. This is an offensive juggernaut that is going to be awfully hard to stop today.
Yeah, certainly has been. It certainly has been as of late, and certainly will be today. You got 2 games for the Mariners facing a red-hot offense led by Adrian Del Castillo, who yesterday hit a grand slam in that part of that 15-run outburst. He will back cleanup in the first game of today's doubleheader, so look out for Del Castillo to keep up the hot hitting. But at the same time, the DH on the other side, Christian Fedko, batting third today, he has been tearing the cover off the ball, hitting .390 now on the season. So a couple of really good hitters at the top of the stats league lead across the entire league. So I think Fedko versus Del Castillo should be a matchup to watch out for today. But of course, starting pitching is going to be so important with the 7 innings, the abbreviated game today, just going 7 innings. So Mariners want to win. They're going to need a good start out of Jacob Polish, and he definitely had one against Wareham the last time these two teams played.
Yep, Polish from Richardson, Texas, out of Stanford University, comes in to pitch today's game. And as you mentioned, he played the last time these two met. That game was, of course, at Wareham, and it was a game that was shortened by fog. The Harwich Mariners able to take a victory in that one and get back above 500. So it'll be, as I mentioned, Polish coming out today. Pretty standard stuff from him. Fastball, curveball, change-up. And let's take a look at the lineup he'll be facing off against. Leading things off, it'll be the center fielder and the speedster, Braden Ward, who steps in right now, followed by second baseman Darren Baker, first baseman Jacob Teeter, DH Adrian Del Castillo, catcher Dallas Beaver, third baseman Matt McLean, shortstop Benjamin Sems, left fielder Mike Antico, and right fielder Tora Atsuka. So Polish to lead things, or to start things off here for the Mariners, and he will face a guy who leads the league, I believe, in stolen bases. He'll take a first pitch in there for a strike. Braden Ward this year, Colin, has 12 stolen bases, and you and I noted that is 3 times as many as the Bourne Braves have as a team.
Yep, he's not afraid to run on the base pass, and boy, does he have the talent to do it.
He'll take an 0-1 pitch, and that one's going to be hit just on the other side of the third base bag, which, keep in mind, is still the red, white, and blue from the 4th of July a few days ago, so extending that here through 4th of July weekend. Although, as you and I also noted, it kind of looks like the French flag, but, you know, they'll take it. Very festive out there here at White House Field, one of the premier destinations in the Cape League, as Polish comes to the ready from the windup, and this one's going to be fouled away, so he stays ahead of Braden Ward here, 0-2.
Ward from the University of Washington also showcasing his speed there, 26 of 31 on steals to go along with a .321 batting average.
Yep, and Ward coming in here, he's done his damage in the Cape League as well. He comes in hitting .350, so he'll watch this pitch come up and in and miss for ball 1. So, you know, I talked about it, this lineup top to bottom is just absolutely potent. 8 guys hitting over 300, but the one saving grace for the Mariners today could be that the Gatemen come in riding a 3-game road losing streak, because that one swung on and missed, and Jacob Polish will get Braden Ward down on strikes to start his outing.
That nice looking off-speed pitch from Polish, and Ward, despite having that speed and a pretty high average, he is prone to strikeouts. That's his 12th of the season, so now he has the same number of strikeouts as he does steals.
Jacob Polish, one of those guys that only really uses 3 pitches, a fastball that'll come in between 89 and 91, a curveball, and a change, so a lot of good off-speed mixed in for him. Here comes Darren Baker, who squares around a bunt on the first pitch. He'll pull it back, but it doesn't matter as the breaking ball is in there for strike 1. And Colin, the quest for good starting pitching may be getting back underway. It seemed like they had everything figured out, but a couple of guys have been taken off as the fastball is going to be in there for a called strike. It started off with Evan Shaver, who, you know, suffered some form of injury. Again, we won't speculate on what, but he had to be taken off the team. And then, of course, Buddy Hayward. His services will also not be employed for the rest of the season, as this one's taken to short, coming in, having to charge on it, and picking up, throwing to first, not in time, is Noisy. That one's going to skirt past the arm of Lanzilli, but a lot of speed down the line for Darren Baker.
Yep, Baker, I might as well get the first reference out of the way, showing the speed that he showed back in 2002 when he was the bat boy for the San Francisco Giants. Everyone always references that moment where he ran onto the field and JT Snow had to drag him off home plate. But on that play, a great job hustling it out on a ground ball to short. Tough play by the shortstop, Noisy. And Baker is aboard with the first base runner of the game for the Gateman.
Yep, something he'll be known for forever. One of the more iconic moments in MLB history. So he stands on first base, and that'll bring to the plate Jacob Teeter, who is riding a red-hot streak coming into this game. He'll take the first pitch in there for a called strike. Teeter hitting in the 3-hole today. He is hitting .333 himself. He's done a lot of that damage in the last couple of games. Polish from the set, pitches, and brings this one down in the dirt to even the count at 1-1 here.
Teeter over at Florida Southern. He's actually, though, a big Red Sox fan, so I'm sure he's enjoying his time on the Cape, not too far from the home of his favorite team, Fenway Park.
Well, and actually getting to spend a day at Fenway Park as all of these guys get some BP in front of the scouts and try to take one up over the monster. So Teeter digs in, lefty against righty here. As Polish working out of the stretch, will toss over to first. Runner in there very safely, and really, when you get past Braden Ward, the rest of this team not the most aggressive in the league. Several guys that have 3, maybe 2 stolen bases, but nobody above that line. Darren Baker is the only one with more than 2 other than Braden. He stands over on first as a fastball is going to miss for ball 2.
Yeah, Baker also a little bit prone to getting caught. He's been nabbed twice stealing, so we'll see if a guy like Pat Winkle can throw him out. We know he's got a good arm behind the dish.
Winkle back there today is another throw over from Polish, and let's really quickly set the defense here for the Harwich Mariners. As you mentioned, Pat Winkle is behind the dish today. Chris Lanzilli taking first. That allows Nico Cavadas to play third. Your middle infielders are Dylan Noisy at short and Corey Acton at second. Chris Galland in left, Max Marshak in center, and Joey Weimer out in right field today. Polish sets with a 2-2. Jacob Teeter standing in. The 2-1 pitch is a fastball that will miss out of the zone. So the battle of the Jacobs here in the 3-hole. Mariners back in their traditional home whites. Kind of that tan looking color. Red Sox, red hats. Blue letters trimmed in black. The 3-1 pitch. And that one's going to be taken high in the air. Plenty of time for Noisy to settle under it. And he'll make the catch about 4 steps in on the infield for out number 2.
Yeah, good job there by Polish climbing the ladder on a dangerous hitter in Teeter. Got him to go above the strike zone and just hit a weak pop-up towards the left side of the infield. The easy play for Noisy, who's got a lot of experience playing the outfield, so those pop-ups just routine for him.
But now he'll have to face off against maybe the toughest task in this lineup. It's Adrian Del Castillo. Comes into this game hitting .310, which is probably 4th or 5th on the team. 11 RBIs for him. That's enough to tie for 2nd on the team, as this first pitch is chopped foul back near the Wareham dugout. And of course, you mentioned a couple of home runs for him yesterday, I believe, in that game against Orleans.
Yeah, he had the big blow in that grand slam to put his team up early, and Gateman didn't look back from there and steamrolled to a 15-4 victory.
So Polish sets, throws back over to first, being awfully cautious of the speed for Darren Baker. And it was an unfortunate day yesterday for Harwich. Obviously, the loss to Bourne was tough, but the other bad part was the only team in the East that actually won a game yesterday, Chatham splitting, of course, but the only team that came away with a pure victory were the Brewster Whitecaps, the one team that they need to lose. Runner takes off. Winkle will just glove it as that one is swung through, and the count is 0-2 here on Del Castillo.
Yeah, I like the aggression from Baker with 2 away, just kind of going unexpectedly. I mean, despite Polish throwing over a couple of times, once Polish finally delivered home, Baker took off, got a great jump at first, and no throw from the catcher Winkle.
So a runner in scoring position here with 2 outs. Del Castillo digs back in. Polish will bring the pitch home. That one's going to be softly hit out into left. It's a flare coming in as Noisy, and he's going to make the catch. He had to range all the way over to his left there on the outfield grass and caught it kind of down the line behind third base. What a grab by Dylan Noisy, and that will end the inning. So the Mariners will look to strike first here when we come back. It's the home half of the first here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field here on 4th of July weekend. Tyler Henry, Colin Casey bringing you coverage of Mariners baseball here on the Mariners YouTube network. And Colin, pitcher coming into the game here for the Wareham Gatemen, it'll be J.P. Gates. And he has already had some extensive experience this year, but he's looked hittable at times.
Yep, we'll have to see if he can control the Harwich Mariners bats kind of the way that Nick Domkowski did yesterday. Got good starting pitching from Bourne yesterday, which led them to the victory. But starting pitching today, even more so important because it's only a 7-inning game, so the likelihood of a pitcher going almost the distance is a lot higher, going 5 and 6 innings. So you just have to use up one reliever, and if Gates can go 5 or 6, he can really put his team in a position to take a win here in this first game.
Harwich has played in 5 games that have gone under the regulation 9 innings, and they are 4-1. So trying to continue that trend here against the Wareham team that they beat in one of those shortened games. It was a fog out in the 5th inning at home that allowed the Mariners to take a victory. So let's take a look at the Harwich lineup for you today. It'll be Max Marshak leading things off and playing in center. Dylan Noisy hitting second and short. Christian Fedko, your DH today in the 3-hole. Joey Weimer out in right. Nico Cavadas at third. Corey Acton at second. Pat Winkle is catching and hitting in the 7-hole today as this one misses outside for ball 1. Chris Lanzilli, your first baseman in the 8-hole, and Chris Gallant tailing off the lineup in the 9-hole and playing left today. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss, and Max Marshak has evened up the count here at 1-1.
Yeah, the big important stat to look at with Gates is in the 3 starts he's made, he's only gone 6 innings total, so hasn't really had the stamina so far.
1-1 pitch will miss low and inside, but that's kind of the perfect guy to start in a situation like this where you really only need him to go a couple of solid innings, and then you can turn things over to the bullpen. So J.P. Gates, the big lefty, working out of the windup, a big slow delivery, and he'll bring it home. This one will miss low and in, and the count is now 3-1 here. So Max Marshak, who has had some trouble with being patient this year, looking a lot less eager to swing at a pitch out of the zone here in this one. Marshak really crowding the plate, big open stance, back toe in the back corner, and he will send this one to the opposite field, ranging back about 6 steps, and 2 steps over to his left is Otsuka in right, and he'll make the catch for out number 1.
Yeah, so Marshak got the 3-1 pitch that he was looking for, but it seemed like he was a little bit behind and came off the bat a little bit lame, so ends up being a routine fly ball, and now it'll be up to Dylan Noisy to try to make some noise with one away.
So as Noisy steps in, set the defense for you for the Wareham Gatemen. Dallas Beaver will be behind home plate. Jacob Teeter over there at first. Baker at second. Sems is your shortstop today. Matt McLean at third. So this pitch is going to be just off the corner for ball 1. In your outfield, it's Antico in left, Ward in center, and Tora Otsuka out in right. So with one away, Dylan Noisy looks to get somebody on here for the Mariners in their half of the first inning. J.P. Gates kicks and fires. Breaking ball that's going to be just low, I guess, for ball 2 there.
Yep, the longest start of the year for Gates was his last one on July 1st against Bourne. 3 innings, 3 runs, 5 hits.
2-0 pitch. That one will miss high and away, and he struggled with command here early on as he fell behind Max Marshak early, and now he's fallen behind Dylan Noisy, and that's a lot of speed you don't want to put on first base either.
Yeah, that's interesting because he's only walked 1 batter in 6 innings so far, so control hasn't really been an issue so far for him.
3-0, that's going to miss low, so it's a 4-pitch walk to Dylan Noisy, and the Mariners have their first runner on here of the day. That'll bring Christian Fedko to the plate, who, boy, has got to be one of the hottest hitters in the Cape Cod Baseball League this year. He doesn't actually have enough ABs per game to qualify under that category, but he's hitting .390 this year, and you got to think a few more games and he'll be right back in the mix.
Yeah, certainly, and in his last, dating back to the game against Brewster, I think he's got 5 hits in his last 2 games and is something like 5 of 7 with a walk during that span. I mean, it is unbelievable the way that he has been swinging the bat.
First pitch he sees, he's swinging, and he's going to sky this one high in the air. Otsuka coming in to make the catch, and he'll glove it about halfway between his position and the infield dirt. So that'll be 2 outs for Joey Weimer, another guy who's been hitting the cover off the ball this season, and he has been one of the most aggressive hitters I think that we've seen at any point. Every single time he comes up, it looks like he wants to smash the ball somewhere, and even the outs that he's had have been hard hit balls.
Yeah, and the benefit of having that swing is whenever he kind of has that signature chopper that he hits, it almost has enough bounce to get over any infielder.
And this is going to be tough as Noisy tried to take off. He's going to get caught in a rundown. They're going to flip it back, and he is going to be tagged out by Teeter. So getting caught off the bag was Noisy, and he will be put out for the third out of the evening. Joey Weimer will come up to bat in the second inning when we come back, but that's going to do it for the Mariners in the first. We go to the second, still knotted up at 0 after this when we come back. You're watching Harwich Baseball here on the Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field, everybody. I'd like to thank you once again for spending your Saturday afternoon with us here at White House Field, and say thank you once again for tuning in. So it's Jacob Polish out there on the bump for the Mariners. Let's take a look at what he's done so far this season. He has made 2 starts, one of which came against Wareham, the other coming about a week ago, and in those 2 starts, he's looked good. He's thrown 10 complete innings. He's gone 1-1 as a starter, an ERA of 1.8, not bad for a starting pitcher, if you will, and then the 13 strikeouts to only 2 walks. He has looked virtually unhittable, gave up 4 runs, all of which came in that second outing. And Colin, it wasn't really entirely his fault. They may have left him in a little bit too long, as the third time through the order against Orleans, they really came out and jumped on him here at White House.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with the way Orleans was swinging the bat. I mean, they were one of the hottest teams in the league at the plate during that stretch, and sometimes you just run into really good hitting. But Polish, we've seen him before in abbreviated games pitch well against Wareham. Similar situation here, and that kind of goes for every single pitcher that we've seen pitch in these shortened games. Logan Allen was one who had a lot of success against Falmouth when he started in that 1-0 game at White House Field.
So Dallas Beaver will foul the first pitch he sees off, and Polish will go back to work. Of course, Polish, one of the late arrivals for the Harwich Mariners this year, and he's turned into one of the more solid starters for this squad. Going right after Seckler, that seems to be the 1-2 that they want to go with, as this off-speed comes in there for strike 2, and he's ahead of Beaver. And of course, losing Logan Allen was tough. Losing Buddy Hayward certainly didn't help things either, but they found some other promising guys that can come in and get spot starts. As the 0-2 pitch will miss low and away. A couple names that come to mind are Carson Seymour. We've also seen Connor McCullough come in for a start or two. And how about this? I think we can say this now that we're on the air. The starter for the second game of the doubleheader is actually going to be Joe Boyle, as this one is taken back up the middle, but right at Marshak, who will glove it for out number 1. But Joe Boyle will be getting a start. I don't think that's something you or I would have guessed could have even happened.
Yeah, and that's interesting because the farthest that Boyle's gone is 2 innings. He had that first appearance against Bourne where he went 2 innings, struck out 5 of the 6 batters he faced. So we know he can go at least 2 innings. We'll see how far he goes, and if it's just going to be a bullpen game, 2 from Boyle, 2 from maybe a guy like Heflin. We'll have to see how Coach Englert manages that game.
So that brings up Matt McLean, who will foul the first pitch that he sees off. McLean, a freshman at UCLA, and was one of the guys on a team that was, Colin, supposed to go awfully deep into that tournament, but they ended up getting bounced by Michigan, who made it all the way to the finale before being eliminated themselves by the Vanderbilt Commodores in the final game. So a pretty good run for his squad.
Yeah, that's the great thing about the College World Series is we got a bit of a timeout here, but
I think Winkle's mask. Oh no, it's his nose.
Yeah, it looks like he got hit maybe in the mouth or something on a ball that came up. Looks like he's bleeding a little bit. So we'll see if they're going to get Rothenberg ready or if he just needs a moment to kind of get bandaged up.
There's only so much that a protective mask can do when you've got a guy throwing about 92 miles an hour in, and all it takes is one ball that gets deflected in the wrong spot, and you could be in trouble. Rothenberg stands up, and Rothenberg was actually a little late to the field today. Him and one of the other Mariners pitchers were out there at one of the cafes in Harwich Port. I was there and saw him. He was like, the food is taking forever here. I don't know what's going on, but we're already late to get to the field. So he was a little concerned that he was going to be late, but his services may be called upon here, depending on how long it takes for Winkle to get ready to go.
Yeah, we'll have to see whether it's something serious enough to take him out of the game. It looked like he seemed fine where the ball just kind of, as you mentioned, McLean got a piece of it, went straight back, and he's just getting looked at as we speak. I don't think it's anything other than just a superficial wound, but again, can't really speculate at this juncture.
Yep, he should be all right. And in case you're wondering, it was Scribano's Italian Market in Delhi, and it did take some time. It's apparently Coach English' favorite restaurant, so Rothenberg probably caught a little bit of a break there,
Yeah.
and he knows how long it takes. And I'll tell you what, I can tell you from personal experience now, it may take a while, but that food is worth it. That stuff is good. So some solid sandwiches. Had a chance to actually sit down and talk to John Fedko again and kind of pick his brain about the broadcasting industry as Winkle continues to get some work over there, and that'll give everybody some time to kind of stop and take a little bit of a break. As you know, typically at Colin, the doubleheaders as Winkle's going to jog back in. The doubleheaders we've played have gone by pretty quick. The one game at Hyannis dragged on a little bit, but for the most part, you remember back to the doubleheader we had against Falmouth. That one here at White House Field, and both of those games done in an average of an hour and a half. So we've had some very quick action.
Yep. The next game, well, the original game is actually scheduled for 5:30 before this one turned into a doubleheader. So that's the time that these teams are shooting for. But you never know; could go by quicker, could go by slower.
So the count is 0-1 to Matt McLean. Polish comes set, delivers the pitch, and this one will be fouled away back to the Harwich dugout. So the Mariners, after breaking out of a 4-game losing streak, took a loss to Bourne yesterday, one of the bottom teams in the West, and now trying to bounce back again and get back on the right track as Brewster, the only team in the East to pick up a victory. And what that did was it put Brewster 4.5 games, or not 4.5 games, but it put Brewster several points ahead of the Mariners. Harwich at 16, Brewster at 21. So a 5-point advantage, or 2.5 games, as this fastball narrowly misses low and away. So the Mariners with some ground to catch up, and keep in mind also, Colin, that after the doubleheader today, we'll be halfway through the season as this one is hit out into left, but once again right at Chris Gallen, who gloves it for out number 2.
We've seen a couple of hard hit balls from both teams this far, but not a lot of motion needed for the outfielders. They've only had to take a couple of steps to their left or right, and it's another one of those situations, just an atom ball right at Chris Gallen, and simple play for him. So far, so good for Polish, just a one hit to Baker, but was able to strand him, and now he's looking to make it a 1-2-3 second.
So that'll bring up the Jayhawk from Kansas University, my neck of the woods. First pitch to Benjamin Sems is in there for a swinging strike as he tries to cut through the fastball and can't come up with anything. It's a Kansas team that has been getting progressively better and better, a baseball program that had struggled for a while, but starting to turn the corner a little bit. As this one misses low and inside, another program on the rise out there in the Big 12, and also in Kansas is the University of Kansas State. And a part of that is courtesy of their coach as Polish delivers the 1-1, swing and a miss for strike 2.
We got one other doubleheader in action today that has just kicked off, and Hyannis at home today at McKeon Park takes an early 1-0 lead over Bourne.
Those two teams fighting to stay out of the basement. But again, the coach at Kansas State, so this one's going to be hit to the right side, and that'll get past Corey Acton at second. Pretty weak contact there as Polish completely jammed Benjamin Sems, but he was able to take it the other way, and that's going to be another hit here in the second inning. Runner on with 2 away.
Yeah, it was just a well-placed hit. Actually a pretty surprising amount of space open on the right side of the infield with the second baseman Acton playing relatively close to the bag, and just a great piece of hitting by Sems, and he's able to pick up a 2-out single. So let's see if the bottom third of the lineup can do some damage for Wareham.
Yeah, it'll be Mike Antico standing in now as he will take the first one, a chopper to second. Acton keeps it in front of him, bodies it up, and can't throw to first in time, so it's going to be 2 on. They're going to charge Acton with an error. And the infield is a little bit moved around from what we've seen typically, Colin, as Lanzilli will get the start at first despite Cavadas being in the lineup. He takes third base, where we've typically seen Acton, who's at second today, which allows Fedko to play DH. So a couple of defensive shifts, and so far no big damage has been done, but that error really hurts as Acton couldn't get a glove on that one.
Very tough play, though, the way that ball kind of hit the lip. It was a tough hop to read, and kind of caught him up near the chest, so wasn't able to turn his glove in time, and he's going to get charged with an error.
Tora Atsuka stands in, the 9-hole hitter today. Harwich just looking for one more out to find their way out of the inning, as the first pitch is an off-speed that'll miss low and away.
Second error of the season for Acton.
Atsuka comes in today the 9-hole hitter, hitting a decent 353 on the season. This lineup is absolutely absurd.
It's like Bill Miller with the Red Sox back in the day, winning a batting title out of the 8-hole.
The 1-0 pitch. That one's going to be taken into left, but right at Chris Gallen, who will range over to his right and make the catch for out number 3. So able to get a couple on, but unable to bring anybody around are the Wareham Gatemen, and they will go down quietly. The Mariners coming up in the second when we come back. You're watching Harwich Baseball here on the Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey, still knotted up at 0, and Colin, the Harwich Bats, looking to pick up where they left off in the 9th inning yesterday, almost coming back and getting a victory over the Bourne Braves, but ultimately they came up just 1 run short in a very exciting 9th inning.
Yeah, it was actually, I think, the second time in 3 games where the Mariners were able to make some noise in the 9th inning. They had that other one against Brewster a few days ago, and both of those unfortunately coming up just short. That one, it was looking really promising, and then Tyler Brocious, one of the best relievers in the entire CCBL, was able to get a huge double play ball. It did bring home a run, but all of a sudden the bases were empty with 2 outs, and Hal Hughes struck out to end the game. So a good effort, but all for naught, and the Mariners with another one that they wish they could have had back.
So Harwich looking to bounce back here, and Joey Weimer, for a second time today, technically, will come to the plate. He was standing on when Dylan Noisy got himself into a pickle between first and second. It was eventually tagged out by the first baseman. So he digs in here. He'll watch a called strike on the outer half, and once again turns around and asks home plate umpire where he thought that one was. Count is even at 1-1. Weimer with that big towering stance, all 6'5" of him, stands into the box, and he'll watch an off-speed pitch miss down in the dirt to make it a 2-1 count.
And we know what happened last time Weimer was in the lineup for the first half of a doubleheader here at White House Field. Sent a ball over the left center field fence against Falmouth.
Doubleheaders have been kind to Mr. Weimer, and here he nails one out to left. That one is going to fall just in front of the running Antico, and it's going to be a leadoff single for Joey Weimer here to start the second. And Colin might be happier that he did that with nobody out in the second than if he had done that with 2 away in the first.
Right, that base hit. It's funny because last inning it was a couple of balls hit hard to left where Gallen was standing right there. This one not hit nearly as hard, and Weimer was able to find a gap, so baseball can kind of be a cruel sport sometimes, and it has been for Wareham so far. So Weimer with that base hit, trying to climb back over the 300 mark.
So that brings up Nico Cavadas as a throw over to first, trying to keep Weimer close. Of course, Joey Weimer, one of multiple guys this year with multiple stolen bases for the Harwich Mariners. He comes in today with 4.
Hasn't been caught yet either.
Throw over to first is going to be close. You can hear the groans of the Wareham faithful.
Nope, they got him.
So actually Weimer is thrown out. All right. So that will clear the base runner the second time today that the Mariners have had a guy picked off. Yikes. So Weimer heads back to the dugout, and with 1 away, Cavadas will step in with nobody on. Breaking ball is going to be in there for a called strike to start the at-bat.
And that's the second time we've had a successful pickoff move, and Gates definitely has got a really tough one to pick up.
0-1 pitch. That's taken up the right side for a hit. It'll roll into right field between the 3-4 hole, and Atsuka will pick it up. And again, Colin, you got to wonder, if Weimer doesn't get picked off at first, the Mariners are really in business here. But you can't change the past, and that'll bring Corey Acton up to the dish with 1 away.
And that ball certainly would have gotten through with the double play depth, with Darren Baker playing relatively close to second base up the middle. Would have been plenty of space, and Cavadas' single would have gotten through there. And even with Weimer's speed and a good jump, he might have been able to round second and make it to third with nobody out.
So Cavadas now stands on first. Corey Acton stands in. First pitch he sees is going to be in there for a called strike, low and away, but just tucked inside the corner. Of course, this year's been a pretty good one, at least at the beginning, for Corey Acton, who came in and had a home run in his second game. Since then, he's only had a pair of hits. He'll watch another pitch very close, low and away, but it's going to be off, and the count is even at 1-1.
Cavadas not exactly being held on, part of that because of his lack of speed, just soft coverage over at first base by Teeter.
Here comes the 1-1. That'll miss low down in the dirt, and it'll be a 2-1 count here. So with a 2-1, JP Gates comes to the set, trying to get 2 more outs here to end the inning. Acton will golf at a pitch. He actually didn't get a hold of it. That's going to allow Cavadas to take a wide turn at second, but he will wisely hold up there.
Yeah, I'm not surprised he held up, considering already 2 guys thrown out on the base paths in the first less than 2 innings now for Harwich. So Cavadas knows that he's not one of the fastest guys out there, and it would have been a close play at third. He did not want to risk it, but he does put himself in scoring position with Acton still at the plate and a 2-2 count.
I want to really quickly give you your umpires today. It's Vicente Medina behind home plate, Bob Del Point at first, and Rick Emerson over there at third. So the 2-2 count, Acton digs in, gets back to work here. JP Gates looking for another out, brings the pitch home. That'll miss a fastball outside, and the count's been worked full here.
First base is open with Winkle coming up, and double play ball would be able to get Wareham out of the inning, but assuming Gates is going to try to maybe pick a corner here on Acton.
A pair of walks for Acton. That's all he's had this season. He'll swing through a pitch well out of the zone and low. Broke out the 9-iron and completely missed it, and that will be the second out of the inning.
Yeah, great bounce back pitch to get Acton to chase by Gates. Ball got away and the runner advanced to second, but now all of a sudden with 2 away, infielders can focus on getting that out at first. But Pat Winkle, last time he played here at White House Field, he had a big double right over the center fielder's head. Let's see if he can do that once again and give Harwich an early lead.
Everyone playing deep, and he will take one into the gap out in left center field. They're going to wave Cavadas around. It's misplayed in left by Antico, and it's going to be a double here for Pat Winkle. The Mariners strike first.
They're going to give him a single and an error as that ball was misplayed, but boy, looking like Groundhog Day out there. Very similar. Ball hit out towards center, left center field, and Winkle coming up big and giving Harwich an early lead. And it's amazing how well this team has played so far against a great team like Wareham. I mean, it's obviously a small sample size with less than 7 innings played between these 2 teams, but Harwich seems to have this team's number so far.
Well, and also keep in mind that, I mean, it's great they get the run across as a swing and a miss here from Chris Lanzilli, but if Weimer is unable, or if Weimer doesn't get picked off at first, it's a 2-0 lead, so hopefully that doesn't end up coming back to bite the Mariners. But they strike first here, big RBI single out of Pat Winkle, and then as you mentioned, he advances on the air out in left. So Chris Lanzilli trying to get something going here with 2 away. He'll hold up there, and the count is even at 1-1. And for Lanzilli, a monster 2019 campaign, but still trying to find his footing here in this league. Hitting under 100 this season at .088. Here he looks at the 1-1 pitch from Gates, and he will foul that one away into foul territory. So the count's 1-2 here.
An error apiece for both teams, and just the bottom of the second, and that's a little surprising considering how well defensively these teams are coached, with Harwich second at a .975 fielding percentage and .972 in 4th place for the Gatemen.
Gates comes set, the 1-2 pitch, and that one's fouled away. Of course, the Wareham Gatemen coming off of a championship run as they'll try to defend their title here in 2019, and it's gotten off to a pretty good start. They're also playing in the right division to do it, as they currently sit 4 points above Falmouth in second. Actually, 1 point above Catuit in second. Those two are flipped on point streak, and then the 2 teams in the basement. Yeah, quite a ways to go, as this one is going to be raked into left field. That one's going to get down, and they will wave the runner home. Throw is coming. It's going to be almost there, but not nearly in time. So it's another RBI hit, this time for Chris Lanzilli, and that's got to feel good. It's his first hit in quite some time, and it comes at the perfect moment for the Mariners.
Yep, just great job of getting some contact on a pitch he was pretty far out in front of, but he was able to slow down his motion, able to just place that ball perfectly right down the left field line, and with the runner Winkle going on contact, he was able to score. The throw was a little bit airmailed, so a good throw might have made it a close play, but Mariners take a 2-0 lead.
So that will bring Chris Galland up to the plate for his first plate appearance today. First pitch he sees is off speed, and that will miss low and inside. So Galland can keep things going here for the Mariners, who have been just tearing through. The 2-out hitting this year has been better than anything I think I've seen out of anybody this year. It's been very strange, but it seems like the Mariners do best at the plate when their backs are against the wall. So Galland will take another ball.
Not to be overlooked on that last play, but Lanzilli able to take second on the throw home, so now another runner in scoring position, and a guy like Galland who's got a pretty good average on the season.
Well, certainly. He'll take one up the right side, but right at second, ranging over to his right is Baker. He'll pick it up and throw to first in time for out number 3, but not before the Mariners strike for 2. They lead it 2-0 as we go to the third. You're watching Harwich Baseball here on the Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field. Tyler Henry, Colin Casey. Like to remind you that today's game is brought to you by Curry College. Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes are on days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
So the Mariners able to pick up a couple of runs in the home half of inning number 2, and Jacob Polish will now head out to the mound with a 2-run lead facing the top of the order, and leading things off is Braden Ward, who, Tyler, had a 6-for-6 game yesterday against Orleans. He has been nothing short of on fire as of late.
Yeah, you want to talk about getting hot at the right time. He has just been going through opposing pitching left and right, and in a pretty good effort, 15-4, he was a big part of the reason they were able to get a couple of guys on base.
He shows bunt, and the first pitch is, as we get into Peel, he did not offer, so it's ball 1. Ward also came around to score 3 times in that game, so contributing to the maximum in the big victory against Orleans, who Firebirds have now dropped 3 in a row after winning 5 straight, as that pitch is swung on and fouled straight back.
You know, interestingly enough, to find the last Chris Lanzilli hit of the year, you actually have to go back to the last game that this team played against Wareham. That one coming in mid-June, but maybe something about the gateman that just gets him started here.
Big swing and a miss by Ward to fall behind 1 and 2, and you can honestly say the same thing right now about Jacob Polish. He's looked pretty good the first time through the order, just giving up a pair of hits, but not letting either of them come around to score. He's got Ward down 1 and 2, the pitch, and that one's in there for a called strike 3, so Braden Ward, after going 6-for-6 yesterday, finds himself 0-for-2 with a pair of strikeouts to begin this one away here in the third.
Yep, off to a quick start here, and going through a lineup that, again, this is a minefield. I mean, 1 through 9, this lineup can just absolutely terrorize you if you're not careful with your pitch location, but Polish has looked awfully composed, and now he'll face off against Baker.
Baker waves the first pitch for a strike. Baker wielding an orange and black bat. You have to wonder if it's paying homage to San Francisco Giants, a team his father was the manager for, as that pitch is in there for a strike. 0-2. Dusty Baker not only had himself a great career as a manager, but also as a player. 0-2 is in there for a called strike 3, and Baker goes down looking as well. So it's 2 batters, 2 strikeouts looking for Polishes. He's really having a strong third inning, 2 down.
Yep, and he had a pretty good outing against Wareham, as you mentioned. Let a lot of base runners get on, but didn't bring a whole lot of guys across to score. So looking to replicate that success here. It's been a similar story. He only allowed 3 base runners the first time through the order. Back in that game, he allowed 4.
1-0 to Jacob Teeter, who popped out to short in the first. In the 0-1, he swings at and misses, as some pretty good movement, downward movement I should add, from Polish on that one.
Yep, and that's a big part of the reason his changeup is so effective, is he can drop a lot of velocity off of it, but also the rash movement that it has.
1-1 is hit up the middle, over at short. Play is made by Noisy, and he throws on to Lanzilli to end the inning. So it's a 1-2-3 third inning for Jacob Polish. He has looked very good against a tough Gateman lineup. We're through 2.5 from White House Field. The Mariners lead the Gatemen 2-0. You're watching Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners YouTube network. So after the Wareham Gatemen sent their top of the lineup to the dish and didn't find any success, we'll see what the Mariners' top third can do here in the home half of inning number 3, as Max Marshak will lead things off, followed by Dylan Noisy and Christian Fedko against J.P. Gates, who had a strong first inning facing the minimum, and then Tyler, things kind of got away from him in the second.
Yeah, and it seemed like it was just hit after hit, and it could have been worse as Joey Weimer got picked off over at first base, but had that not happened, it could have very easily been a 3-run inning for the Mariners. But despite that, they had a lot of good clutch 2-out hitting once again, as Pat Winkle was able to drive in a run, and then Lanzilli came in and did the same.
There's some good production from the 7 and 8 hitters, as they own both of the RBIs so far for the Mariners. And now Max Marshak will lead things off in the third. The speedy center fielder went hitless yesterday, 0 for 4. First pitch he swings, he fouls straight back.
Yeah, and he was left in the on-deck circle looking for his 5th at-bat, but the final out made by Hal Hughes down in the 9-hole after the Mariners came back and scored 2 runs. Left the runner in scoring position as well.
Gates' 0-1 misses just outside. Arshak also well documented that he's got an absolute cannon for an arm, manning that center field position. 1-1 fouled back again.
Yep, a lot of speed and a lot of good defensive ability. In addition to the arm, he can track down pretty much anything that you put out his way in the outfield. So, one of the best all-around additions here to the Mariners squad, and trying to maybe get another leadoff man aboard for the Mariners here in the third.
1-2 from Gates is waved at and missed. Strike 3 is that ball tailing away from the hitter Marshak, and he is retired to begin the home half of the third.
Yep, that's going to be strikeout number 2 on the day for J.P. Gates, and that'll bring Dylan Noisy up, who reached on a 4-pitch walk back in the first inning, but then got caught in a rundown between first and second to end it.
Noisy spends time both at middle infield and in the outfield as well. We've seen him in center with the Mariners. First pitch he sees is in the dirt.
And it was interesting to see him out there, as the Mariners actually have 6 outfielders still on the roster, and that's including the fact that Jacob Hurtubise was released. So it was 7 at one point. A couple of the other infielders can play the outfield as well.
1-0 is fouled straight back, and Gates doing a much better job kind of attacking the zone without leaving too many pitches over the middle of the plate, as he did last inning, giving up 4 hits and then, of course, the 2 runs. trying to be a little more patient with the hitters. 1-1 misses up and away.
Yep, Noisy started off his Harwich career 1 for 10 and then was not in the lineup actually was used as a pinch runner yesterday, so didn't have an official at bat. So still looking for his second hit of the season.
He swings and fouls one back to even the count 2-2. These are arguably two of the best pitching teams in the entire league, as top two lowest opponent batting averages, Harwich at 213, and then in second is Wareham with 229. So definitely hard to get hits off of both of these staffs, as the breaking ball misses up and away to make it a full count 3-2.
Other than Hyannis, I'm not convinced that there's a single bad pitching team in the league. I mean, it seems like everybody's ERA has been solid, or at least one format of it, as Bourne has the lowest bullpen ERA in the league. So definitely something to keep an eye on. But I mean, we heard it from John Fetko the other day on the air. He said, you know, you come into a league like this and you're facing Friday and Saturday starters every single night. It's really taxing on opposing hitting.
3-2, a check swing, and swinging was Noisy, and he is down on strike. So much like Polish in the top half, Gates really finding a rhythm in the bottom half of the third. 2 down.
So that'll bring the hottest hitter of the league arguably up to the dish now in Christian Fetko, who flied out to right his first time up. But again, the brief injury to his hand wrist area prohibited him from having enough plate appearances to qualify to be in the top of the league standing, or the league leaderboard for batting average.
First pitch Fedko sees is over for a strike. Fedko flying out to right, his first plate appearance, and yeah, Tyler, as you mentioned, he's just been tearing the cover off the ball. Great last couple of games, and he's been able to increase his average almost to the 400 mark, as that will even the count 1-1.
He had a 2 RBI single a couple of days ago that gave Harwich the decisive victory over the Brewster Whitecaps, and then yesterday he got the first hit of the season off of Tyler Brocious.
Big swing by Fedko, looking to add his second homer of the season, but he comes up empty, 1-2.
Harwich took a guy that at that point in the year had pitched 6 full innings, had never given up a hit, and they got their first 3 guys on base against him before a double play and a strikeout ended their outing.
1-2, looking for the outside corner was Gates. He doesn't get the call, so despite 2 strikeouts so far, the Mariners have kind of been forcing Gates to work, fouling off some tough pitches, taking some close pitches, so it hasn't been an easy frame despite the 2 strikeouts so far. Here's the 2-2, and that will push the count full once again.
Yep, so Fetko remains patient. Something he's done a good job of this season. He's already worked 6 walks.
His lone home run coming at White House Field against the YD Red Sox in a 3-1 loss. Payoff pitch. Late swing, and it's right to Darren Baker, who has to backpedal a bit and make the catch on the outfield grass to retire the side. So it's another 1-2-3 inning, as going down in order is top of the order for the Mariners. We're through 3 from White House Field. Mariners lead 2-0 over the Gatemen. Nothing. Harwich leading over Wareham in the first game of this doubleheader. We got a defensive change to report, as Mike Rothenberg now in at catcher, as Tyler, looks like that injury for Pat Winkle's kind of a nagging one, and he will be unable to continue the first game of this doubleheader.
Yeah, and hopefully nothing too serious, but obviously he will come out and Rothenberg will be in to catch. He will also bring his bat to the lineup, as Winkle has been doing a lot better recently. It seems like he's really turned it on here in the last couple of games, so unfortunately he has to come out, but Rothenberg's been seeing the ball pretty well as well, and he will stand in the next time he comes up to bat.
Yeah, Winkle actually drove in that run on a single after getting hit in the face on that foul tip by Matt McLean in the top half of the second. Winkle would come up to bat, drive in a run, and later come around to score, but his day is done, and Jacob Polish has a new catcher, and his first pitch to Adrian Del Castillo is in there for a strike.
Yep, Del Castillo went quietly his first time up, as did quite a bit of the guys in the lineup.
Big swing and a miss for strike two, and yeah, we mentioned Ward with the 6 for 6 game yesterday. He's 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Del Castillo on the ropes here. And a check swing on a pitch just outside a look down. He did not swing 1 and 2, but Del Castillo with a 5 RBI game yesterday, including a grand slam, and so far hasn't had the same luck today against Polish. 1-2 to Miami Hurricane is swung on and just getting a piece of it, unable to hang on to it is Rothenberg, and maybe a little bit of rust coming straight off the bench, unable to squeeze that one.
Yep, certainly wasn't expecting to be called upon today. Maybe later on as a pinch hitter if need be, but coming in, and he's looked pretty good defensively behind the plate as well. Both catchers have done an excellent job for the Mariners this season.
1-2 a check swing. He did swing on this one. No tag yet, and Rothenberg's forced to throw down to Lanzilli, so that is now strikeouts on 3 of the last 4 batters faced by Jacob Polish, and he's got the first out in the top of the 4th.
And this is what Polish has been doing all year long. His strikeout numbers have looked good all season. He came into this game with 13 strikeouts to only 2 walks. So far today, hasn't walked a single hitter, but you mentioned the 4 strikeouts, so he's really racking that number up. He's going to be to 20 strikeouts before he hits 5 walks at this rate.
5 straight retired for the Stanford product, and now it'll be Dallas Beaver at the plate, who lined out to center in his first plate appearance. He watches a pitch inside 1-0.
Colin, a lot of intrigue surrounding the 30th spot on the Harwich Mariners roster right now, which currently is empty.
There's a high fly ball out towards left, hooking down towards the foul line and giving a good run at it is Gallen, but it will drop out of play.
Right now, an open spot is, of course, not expecting to not have the return of Buddy Hayward, and then Garrett Crotchet, who was, going to go play for Team USA, didn't make the team, but still electing to take the summer off.
There's another fly ball out towards Gallen, this one in play, and he hardly has to move to make the catch for out number 2.
So, of course, for the Mariners, the focus is probably going to be on finding another arm. The question is, where do you get them from? And, you and I have kind of tossed around the possibility. It could be somebody that's been released from the Cape League, but alternatively, it could be somebody that's pitching really well in another league. It's pretty easy to recruit guys from those smaller leagues to come to the Cape, as this is the ideal summer destination for anybody.
Much easier travel as well with the close location of every team. The farthest trip pretty much an hour from Orleans to Wareham, and first pitch to Matt McLean misses low.
So we'll see what they can do, but certainly having another solid starter that they could go with would be helpful, as they've thrown a lot of guys in there to get spot starts.
Fastball in there for a strike 1-1, and of course, you can't have enough pitching in this league. I mean, you're going up against some of the best bats, and it's important to have guys that can get you outs, get you some innings on some of those tough days, and Mariners might need another guy there with the depth kind of dwindling as count now 1-2 to McLean. Polish looking to make it 4 scoreless. The 1-2, swing and a miss, strike 3, and through the second time through the order for Jacob Polish, he struck out 4 of the 6 batters he's faced and retired all 6 of them. The side is retired in the 4th. We've played 3.5 from White House Field, and the Mariners still hold on to a 2-0 lead. You're watching Harwich Mariners baseball on the Mariners YouTube network. Bottom of the fourth from White House Field, and J.P. Gates going the furthest he has all season long in his fourth start. He went 1 inning in start number 1, 2 in start number 2, 3 in start number 3, and now he's looking to make it 4 in his fourth.
Yep, and we'll see how long they decide to keep him in the game, as again, things could be a little bit shaky getting through another time, or going another time through the order, but he looked good so far. Second time through, he's retired the first 3 guys in order, 1, 2, 3, with a pick couple of strikeouts. So both guys heating up on their second time through.
First pitch to the 4-hitter Joey Weimer is laced into left center field. That's going to be a base hit. Running it down, and Weimer's going to take a wide turn at first, but a great hustle play in center by Ward to cut off that ball, and boy, his speed really paid off, because if he didn't get there, Weimer was certainly going to take second base.
Yeah, and once again, Weimer going out there and attacking, swinging at the first pitch and driving that one out to left. Good thing he didn't take off for second, as he probably would have gotten smoked. So he stands on, and once again, it's the leadoff runner on for the Harwich Mariners. Second time we've seen that today.
And it was Weimer who led off with a single back in the second, but he was picked off. We'll see if he's a little more conservative over at first. We know Gates has a pretty good pickoff move. Nico Cavadas watches a first pitch strike. Cavadas at third instead of his regular first base position in this one. He singled and came around to score back in the second.
And that was actually the first time he's been caught stealing this year. 5 stolen bases. He's finally not able to make it. Technically just got picked off, didn't even get caught stealing. So still the potential for him to swipe second.
It's a 1-1 count now to Cavadas. Out of Notre Dame, the Granger, Indiana native. Ball gets away briefly from the catcher, but Beaver able to track it down quickly before Weimer can even think about grabbing second.
And nobody's tried to swipe on him yet, so we haven't really seen the arm of Dallas Beaver behind the dish. See what he has in store.
Can be a really deadly combination if you have a pitcher with a good pickoff move and a catcher with a great arm. Can be almost nearly impossible to take bags. 1-1 in a catching it off the end of the bat foul is Cavadas.
Yep, he'll fall behind 0-2 or 1-2 here, but Cavadas 1 for 1 today. Had the hit and the run scored back in the second inning. Does lead the team in RBIs. Comes into this game with 8.
Mariners trying to get some more insurance runs for their starter Polish, who's gone 4 scoreless as a pickoff attempt back in time is Weimer. And that ball actually almost got away from the first baseman Teeter. Had to make an acrobatic move jumping over Weimer and gloving it with that right hand. Gates with a look over at Weimer. The 2-2. Check swing, and Cavadas goes around and ends up striking out. So that is strikeout number 4 for J.P. Gates, and first out of the home half of the fourth.
Yep, and that'll bring Corey Acton up, who's 0 for 1 today with a strikeout, so looking to avoid being a victim for a second time today.
Acton out of the University of Florida. Ended up coming at the end of June to Harwich. I've seen intermittent playing time recently, and he catches a pitch inside right on the arm, and he will take his base. So now 2 runners on, and with 1 away, out comes the manager, and we'll see if we're going to have a pitching change following that loss of control from Gates.
Yeah, Harwich continues to feel like it's target practice, and it's just open season on Mariners this year. Another runner hit by a pitch, and I'm going to take a look and see where they're at in the league in that metric, but I would imagine it's pretty high. It seems like Harwich guys have been getting plunked left and right this season.
So a long discussion. We wonder if it's maybe a stalling metric to make sure that the bullpen arm is ready to come in. That is Levi Prater. And yep, that's going to be the day for Gates. So in comes Prater. And with that pitching change, we'll take a break with it. Once again, it's 2 on, 1 away for the Mariners in the home half of the fourth, and they're threatening to try to add to their 2-0 lead. Stay tuned for some more Harwich Mariners baseball. once again at White House Field, and as I mentioned right before the break, the new pitcher for the Wareham Gatemen is Levi Prater out of Oklahoma, and Prater, so far this season, has been pretty reliable pitcher for the Wareham Gatemen, as in both games he's actually received a decision. He started a game, picked up a win in that one, and also lost in his other appearances. He is 1-1 with a 1.80 ERA, just 5 innings pitched, given up 2 runs on 4 hits, walked 4 and struck out 1. So Tyler, definitely a concern for control, and that's coming off of a hit by pitch by the last pitcher, Gates. So we'll see if Prater can kind of hone in that trouble that he's had locating pitches.
Yeah, and Harwich has been hit 13 different times this season. It's been 11 different guys that have taken at least one shot, only 2 that have been hit multiple times, one of which is Joey Weimer, and the other coming earlier this season.
So here comes a big at-bat for Mike Rothenberg. It'll be his first of the game. So he will bat from the right side. And he will be the first man to greet Prater. Rothenberg, of course, the defensive replacement for Winkle, who is battling some sort of face injury. First pitch to Rothenberg misses well outside, and there's that control issue we talked about. Of course, just one pitch, but that one didn't even come close to attacking the strike zone.
It's a good chance for the Mariners here. Runner in scoring position and only 1 out. Got to find a way to get Weimer in, but Rothenberg could potentially be a double play victim and field at double play depth.
That pitch is over for a strike. Weimer leading the inning off with a single. That was followed by a Nico Cavada strikeout, and then just a few moments ago, Corey Acton hit by a pitch. He stands on first base with Weimer on second. 1-1 count, the pitch low in the dirt.
If you want to take a look at who's been hit the most this season, Mitch McIntyre and Nick Gonzalez of Catuit and Hyannis both have 5 hit by pitches this year.
Huge jump by Weimer. Throw over, and he's going to be in a pickle. Heading back to second, he's trying to make it all the way. Close play, the dive, and he is out. And Weimer is frustrated with himself, as this is the second time he has been thrown out on the base pass, and there's a big out number 2.
I'm not sure what the thought was there, as both guys took off early, and looking at the pitcher hadn't even come out of a stance yet, so he was able to just step off the rubber and throw over to third, and Weimer actually made it close at second, but still another base running mistake, the 3rd of the day, and this just feels like one of those games for Harwich.
So now with Rothenberg at the plate, he takes a pitch, and that's going to make it 3-1.
Of course, getting shades of the first game against Chatham, where Harwich had 5 different guys get out, either by getting picked off, caught stealing, or caught in a rundown.
And there's another pickoff move, and he's out. A great move by the new pitcher, Prater, and that's another base running gaffe by the Mariners. And that one's going to end the inning, and boy, that's got to be frustrating for Mike Rothenberg, who came in and didn't even get a chance to try to put a ball in play. We're through 4 from White House Field. The Mariners still hold a 2-0 lead. So another rough inning for the Mariners on the base pass, and they come away with nothing after a promising start to that home half of the 4th. And as we head to the 5th, Jacob Polish back out for inning number 5, and just really hard to explain what the issues have been on the base pass for the Mariners so far, Tyler.
Yeah, and opposing pitchers have read the scouting report. They know this team gets picked off at a pretty alarming rate at times, and so, they've kind of kept them off balance. A really weird set of circumstances that allowed 2 guys to get picked off to end the inning. Joey Weimer caught in the rundown, and then Corey Acton was thrown out at first. So, you know, for one reason or another, Harwich ends up clearing the bases. They had a golden opportunity with first and second, and nobody, or only one out, but squandered it, and now they'll have to come out and defend their 2-run lead. So this could eventually come back to bite them in this game against one of the hottest teams in the Cape Cod League.
So Polish with 5 strikeouts so far, looking to continue that success, and the Mariners are among the league leaders in strikeouts for pitchers, as they were second coming into the game. They've probably taken the lead at least momentarily. The first pitch is swung on, hit in the air towards the left side, foul. That one coming off the bat of Benjamin Sems. And the Kansas Jayhawk falls behind 0-1. He's 1 for 1 on the day. Singled with 2 away back in the second. Was stranded on second to end the inning. He's way late on that pitch, and ahead in the count once again is Polish. Sem's one of 8 lefties in this Gateman lineup, the only righty, the guy who bats before him, McLean, and there's a swing and a miss. He goes down on 3 pitches, and there's strikeout number 6 for Polish as he continues to terrorize these Wareham Gateman bats, 1 away.
Yeah, he's looked awfully good here. Second time through the order. Nobody's been able to get on, but he'll face Mike Antico, who reached on an error by Acton over at second his first time up, and then tore out Tsuka.
Acton having a tough game so far at the plate and on the base paths. Plus, he was also hit at the plate, so that was to add injury to insult, apparently. And that pitch will miss high for ball 1 to Antico. Antico from St. John's comes into this game with a .233 batting average, 5 RBIs. He fouls that ball straight back our way.
It'll be interesting to see how far they want to take Jacob Polish in this game. As you go back to his last start against Orleans, so 1-1's going to be taken up the right side, and it's good for a hit. But you go back to his start against Orleans that he had, and the first time through the order he allowed just 1 hit, or just 1 walk. The second time through the order he allowed just 1 hit. So he had 8 strikeouts. He had retired 16 of the 18 guys. And then the third time through the order, Orleans jumped all over him. 3 hits, 2 runs, a couple of errors, and he was pulled. Eventually they'd go on to lose that game. So we'll see whether or not they want to have him face the top of the order a third time, or whether they'll go to the bullpen before that happens. Currently nobody up and throwing right now.
He found success against them back in the third with a couple of strikeouts and a ground out to those top 3 hitters, but a 1-out single for Mike Antico and showing bunt and getting it down, and it's a pretty good one. A barehanded play, though, by Polish, and he throws onto first underhanded as Atsuka was looking to catch him napping, and it's going to be a... And they actually called the batter out early. Maybe he bunted that out of the batter's box is the issue.
Yeah, Jerry Weinstein's coming out for an explanation right now.
And so that's going to bring the runner back perhaps to first, because it could be a dead ball. So we're going to have to see where they place the runner with 2 down. Antico, who advanced to second on the play, but immediately calling the runner out, the batter Otsuka out, was the home plate umpire, and now we've got a discussion on the first baseline between umpire and manager.
And of course he could. This could be big, as he will stay at first, so nobody in scoring position for the guy who went 6 for 6 yesterday in Braden Ward.
So Atsuka called out, and now Polish in a much more favorable position with that runner not in scoring position and 2 away, and back to the top of the order with Braden Ward. Long look over at first, and he comes home, and Ward way off balance on that swing for a strike.
Yep, Weinstein clearly frustrated by that call, and he may want to write down his frustrations. Maybe he's got an extra lineup card or something in the dugout that he can write it down on.
Oh boy. The 0-1 coming from Polish. Here it is, and it's a chopper on the first base side foul. So Ward, who once again was 6 for 6 yesterday, in danger of falling to the hat trick in a shortened game.
Well, he may have used all of his hits up, you know? He only gets so many.
came into the game hitting .350 with 6 of his 21 hits coming in yesterday's game. Bit of a power threat, 2 homers, 11 runs batted in. The 0-2, just off the outside corner.
So it's no 2 count here on Braden Ward, who is at risk of potentially striking out for a 3rd time today.
Darren Baker waiting in the on-deck circle if he's given a chance. Another 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Ward goes down swinging. Second time he's gone down swinging, the 3rd time he struck out in general, and the side is retired. We've played 4.5 from White House Field. Jacob Polish continues to shine, and the Mariners continue to lead. They have a 2-0 advantage over Wareham. Stay tuned for the rest of this one. You're watching Harwich Mariners baseball on the Mariners YouTube network. Home half of the 5th from White House Field, 2-0. Harwich ahead of Wareham in this first game of a doubleheader. And Tyler, you got a scoreboard update for us, don't
I
you?
sure do. Hyannis is doing Harbor Hawk things again as they brought a 2-0 lead into the 4th inning, but have since given up 3 straight runs to the Bourne Braves. One of those coming on an RBI single from our dear friend Jackson Greer. So Bourne is on top of Hyannis. That game is a doubleheader and a very big swing game for the Bourne Braves and Hyannis Harbor Hawks as one team can distance themselves from the others. This is fouled away by Rothenberg. Currently just separated by 7 points out there in the West.
Yeah, and actually the Harbor Hawks a little bit fortunate. I believe the Braves stranded the bases loaded, so
They
that
did.
inning could have been a lot worse. And a breaking ball from Levi Prater is over to make it 0-2 to Rothenberg, who stood in the box last inning and watched 2 of his teammates get thrown out on the base pass, is working quickly as Prater to make it 1-2.
Yeah, he was trying to help his team out, but his team not really helping themselves out.
1-2 from Prater, fouled straight back. Rothenberg got a Duke, missed a little bit of time. A, because he was late because of how far his team went, and then B, because he had to go back to Omaha for the home run derby. So he spent his fair share of time out in the Midwest. 1-2, breaking ball missing low. The 1-2 once again, and that one's over for a called strike 3, and Rothenberg not too happy and kind of just shrugs his shoulders and heads back to the dugout in displeasure, 1 away.
And you don't see Rothenberg do that very often. He's one of the most professional guys on the team, but clearly he was upset by that call. First time all year I think I've seen him turn around and say something to an umpire, but you got to be awfully careful as Colin, I don't know who the backup catcher is in this situation. Winkle can't come back into the game, obviously. Rothenberg is the only other one listed on the roster.
Definitely be interesting to see a scenario like that as Chris Lanzilli swings through a first pitch fastball.
And unfortunately, I mean, typically I'd say it's probably Cam Thompson, but he departed from the team a little while ago. Seemed like he played every other position, though.
Ball just below the knees to Lanzilli, who was able to plate a run in his last at-bat, his first at-bat of the game, an RBI single in the second. The 1-1. Check swing, and he did, in fact, break his wrist, so it'll be a 1-2 count now to Chris.
Yep, Lanzilli getting his first hit in quite some time. Again, the last time he had A hit came all the way back against Wareham the last time these two met. He'll foul this one back to the screen, but maybe this will get him started. I mean, again, we've seen what he's capable of, and if you get the right Chris Lanzilli up at the plate, he could turn into one of the most dangerous weapons on this team.
Mariners and Gateman both playing similarly in interdivisional games. The 1-2. That one misses in the dirt, 2-2, as the Mariners come in 7-5 against the West. The Gateman 6-5-1 against the East. So both teams finding success on those long road trips, and always fun to watch interconference games. And after a long look-in by Prater, granted time is Lanzilli. 2-0 the Mariners lead here in the home half of the fifth. And there's a chopper towards second, easy play for Baker. And the throw on to first is in plenty of time for out number 2. Yep. Score that one 4-3, and that'll bring up Chris Gallen with 2 down.
Yeah, pretty typical, and Gallen comes up now. He grounded out to second his first time up, that coming back in the second inning. So trying to improve on that here his second time around. It was early in the year. It was about 5 games into the season, but Chris Gallen was leading the league in batting average.
First pitch he sees from Prater catches the inside corner for a strike. No action right now for the Gateman bullpen, so you wonder if Prater might be given the rest of the game. His team trailing 2-0, and that pitch just missing outside. Nothing as of now for the Mariners bullpen, so it looks like Jacob Polish might get a 6th inning. And missing in the dirt, in on the shoe tops, is that pitch from Prater.
Yeah, but if that's the case, he'd be left to face the order through a dreaded third time, which didn't work out so well last time. But a lot of confidence in him, as this one is completely yanked. I'm not sure what was going on there, but the ball was jerked and almost came back in and caught Chris Gallen.
Just a quick reminder, this game is going 7 innings due to it being the front end of a doubleheader, so might change strategy a little bit. And Gallen hits this ball a ton down the left field line, but it is foul. And boy, that ball was hammered. I don't know if it had home run distance or not, but it really jumped off the bat. So it's a 3-2 count to Chris Gallen, who doesn't have any homers on the season, but showed a little bit of power on that swing. We'll see if he can straighten one out with a full count and 2 away. The payoff pitch from Prater is fouled off to the right.
He's doing a good job of keeping himself here with a good defensive swing is Chris Gallen, and he'll try to square one up with 2 away. Mariners, you get the feeling they'd feel more comfortable with a few more runs. So of course, they've been in situations like this before and have eventually come to lose it, as this one comes inside and misses for ball 4.
So big 2-out walk from Chris Gallen, and that will bring up the top of the order, and Max Marshak.
That'll also put the team's stolen base leader on first, as Chris Gallen has swiped 7 bags, although the way the Mariners have been on the base paths today, he might want to just stay over there with his foot on the bag.
Yeah, especially with 2 outs, which has been an issue, but he's got a pretty comfortable lead over at first, and immediately a throw over, and back in time is Gallen, so he's going to go ahead and try to push the limits on Prater. Now keep in mind, both Gates and Prater were able to find success getting runners out. Prater had picked off the runner to end the home half of the 4th. He comes home here, and that pitch is over for a strike to Marshak. Max in a little bit of a slump here over the last couple of games. Currently in an 0-for-7 stretch. The 0-1, a swing and a miss for strike 2.
Yeah, 0-for-7, but the game before that, he went 2-for-5 with 3 stolen bases and 2 runs scored.
Yep, that one coming against Brewster. And we had another throw over as the Mariners in that one picking up the victory, 6-4. That was to end that 4-game losing streak. The Mariners now trying to not make it back-to-back losses, as we got another throw over. So Prater has definitely been doing his homework and knows how aggressive the Mariners have been, and he's watched how aggressive they've been in this game and how it hasn't worked out for them. 0-2. Runner going. Swing and a miss, strike three, and Spike Gallen taking off. It will not matter, as that is the third out, and Max Marshak strikes out for the second time this afternoon. We're through 5 from White House Field. The Mariners 2 and the Gatemen nothing. You're watching Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners YouTube network. And a quick welcome back to White House Field. This game is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
So we go to the 6th inning now. Jacob Polish back out for another frame, and he will face the order for a third time. He's already faced one guy. That was Braden Ward, who yesterday was 0 for 6. Today is 0 for 3 with a triplet of strikeouts. So it'll be Darren Baker, Jacob Teeter, and Adrian Del Castillo coming up for a third time today. And keep in mind, the Mariners are just 2 innings away from this game being closed out, as it's 2 7-inning games today. So Baker will stand in. He is 1 for 2 today. Had a base hit and a stolen base in the first inning and then struck out in the third. He's going to square around to show a bunt. This one is popped up in the air behind him, and that'll be strike 1 off the bat.
And we've seen a couple of bunting attempts here from Wareham, and I don't see why not. They've got plenty of speed to show for it. Small ball, especially in these close games, can be crucial, and if Baker's able to get one down, get a leadoff man on, that can really change the narrative.
The 0-1 pitch, that one's going to be fouled the other way, so falling behind here is Darren Baker, and yeah, in a game where runs have completely come at a premium, the Mariners might be happy that they jumped out to an early lead. They lead it 2-0 here in the visitors' 6th. Polish kicks and fires, swing and a miss at a high fastball as Darren Baker gets tied up in knots, and that's going to be strikeout number 8 of Jacob Polish's afternoon. He has been on a roll.
Yeah, and that's 5 of those 8 strikeouts coming against the top 2 hitters in the lineup. So an impressive start from Polish so far, and he still hasn't he's barely let these Gatemen over the 2 starts that he's had get any sort of offense going against him.
I realize you can't really look back and say what if, but this one's in there for strike 1 to Jacob Teeter. But can you imagine a starting rotation of Logan Allen, Connor Seckler, Jacob Polish, and Buddy Hayward? This misses low and away.
Yeah, it would be very interesting. And I think obviously with Allen expected to leave, the one with Hayward really hurts a lot because of just the way he looked before he came out of there. He was just sparkling in that game.
Swing and a miss, a little half-hearted check swing that goes way too far, and Jacob Teeter's fallen behind. But yeah, I mean, they had the dream rotation almost early in the season, and then one by one it seemed like pieces started to get lost. So Seckler and Polish are the 2 big ones. They're going to try to hold things together as Harwich searches for another starting option. 1-2 pitch offered at, but down in the dirt. They'll check down the line, and not offering was Jacob Teeter.
Yeah, that last start by Hayward, he went 4 1/3 innings, not giving up any hits, just the 1 base runner coming on a walk, and fortunately that was the end of his season.
2-2 will miss in the dirt, and the count is now even. Actually, the count is now full. So, big pitch coming up here for Jacob Polish. Teeter today is 0 for 2, has yet to strike out though. Pitch, that one swung on and popped a mile high in the air. Polish is settling under it, and it's going to drop in between Polish, Rothenberg, and Lanzilli. So that's unfortunate. A runner's going to take first here with 1 away. What was that?
And I think that one's going to be ruled a base hit because no one really made an attempt to that ball. You can't really charge an error for anyone. It was just a miscommunication. And I talked about this in that game against back against Brewster, where that really shouldn't be the pitcher's ball, and yet Polish was the one heading towards there. If you're a first baseman or catcher, or well, probably a first baseman there, you got to call those guys off.
So the pitch comes in, that's going to miss. And Lanzilli, again, not typically the team's first baseman, as he is usually reserved for somewhere else on the infield or even the outfield, but wanting to get Cavadas some work over at third, so he comes in as the first baseman. And Rothenberg, it was never really going to be his ball. Polish kind of came off the bump, and it looked like it was going to be his, and then Lanzilli came in, Polish backed off, and it dropped into the Bermuda Triangle. This Polish's pitch will miss low, so it's a 2-0 count here to Adrian Del Castillo, who's 0 for 2, but we've already known what kind of damage he can cause, and with one swing of the bat, he does represent the tying run.
Yeah, I knew that play was going to be trouble the second I saw Polish kind of trying to take control there. That's one you got to kind of delegate to your first baseman.
2-0 pitch taken right at Acton. This could be two. They'll flip the short way for one, back across, and it's an inning-ending double play to get out of the trouble. So it looked like it could have turned into something bad as Wareham came close to striking, but they can't bring anybody across, and the Mariners are 3 outs away from closing this one out. But first, they'll try to pad some insurance runs on as we go to the home half of the 6th. The Mariners due up to bat when we come back. You're watching Harwich Baseball on the Mariners YouTube network.
Fans, for sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
So as we head now to the 6th inning, there might be an echo in here somewhere, Colin, but we go to the home half of the 6th, I should say. Harwich will be doing up to bat here with Dylan Noisy, Christian Fedko, and Joey Weimer, who today has reached base twice, has been picked off twice. 3 Harwich Mariners have been picked off on the base paths, and you know, honestly, Colin, you get the feeling they could really have blown this game open, but they've kind of left the door open for Wareham here.
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating to have that many runners get picked off, and it basically cost them the game. If you think about that, an error's cost them that game against Chatham way back earlier in the season, and it's kind of been a similar one here, but great starting pitching has really bailed them out, and Jacob Polish could be going for a complete game shutout if he ends up going back out for a 7th inning. He's been pretty efficient so far, so that should be something to watch.
And typically this is the part of the game where you'd see them bring Joe Boyle in. He came in and closed out the 1-0 victory over Falmouth in that doubleheader. The first pitch to Noisy is going to be in there for a called strike, but Boyle is slated to pitch the start, at least, of the next game, so you wonder, it might be Tommy Vale. It could also be Jared Weatherby, although he came in to pitch just a few days ago. Here comes the 0-1 to Noisy. That'll miss low, and the count is even at 1-1.
Will Heflin is one of the 2 Mariners pitchers warming up, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see him go out there, and should be interesting to see. And I'm looking down there, and I believe Hal Hughes is throwing a little bit as well, but I don't know if he's warm enough to come into the game as that pitch misses to make it 2-1.
Something tells me the lead is not big enough that they would feel comfortable putting Hal Hughes into pitch, but plenty of other good options. A lot of guys just kind of warming up and playing some catch as game 2 of the doubleheaders here. That one is lined over to the Wareham bullpen. Gateman scatter in every direction. Count stays at 2-2. Some good reflexes over there. As fun as it would be to see Hal Hughes coming to pitch, we've already seen a couple of position players come in to pitch across the Cape, including one for Orleans yesterday as they were getting the pants beat off of them by Wareham. This one taking a short, right at him, picks it up, throws it to first, and it's going to be in time as Sems throws across for out number 1.
Some solid contact there from Noisy, but that grass in the infield is really, really thick, so it almost swallows up any ground ball that's hit really low towards the ground. And once it came to the shortstop, Sems, it was just a simple play and an easy throw to get the first out of the 6th.
It feels like the grass everywhere here at White House Field is awfully thick, as we've seen a lot of balls hitting the gap that don't even get a chance to roll to the fence. So definitely a pitcher-friendly park here, as the first pitch is going to be ripped into left field. That's going to get down on the right side. Fedko is going to turn, and we'll see if he digs for second. He will. Throw's going to come in. It's going to be not in time. And Christian Fedko is aboard with a double here, a runner in scoring position with one out. And coming to the plate is Joey Weimer, who's already 2 for 2 today.
And, you know, the legend of Christian Fedko just continues. You thought that maybe this was just going to be the game where he kind of cooled off. Not at all, despite getting out in the first 2 plate appearances. He gets a good pitch to hit and drops one down the left field line, similar to what Weimer did earlier in the game, and it was enough for him to leg out a double despite a pretty solid throw in from Antico, and now we're going to get a mound visit. And I didn't see anyone warming up, so I don't know if there's going to be a pitching change here.
Yep, so the Wareham manager will come out and have a word with his pitcher, and we'll see whether or not they elect to pull him or not. But you know, it's been a laboring evening here for Levi Prater. He's looked pretty good, still hasn't given up a run, and it looks like, at least for the time being, they will keep him in.
And that was actually the first hit given up by Prater, as he had also hit a bit, or no, he actually didn't hit a batter. When he came in, he was able to get both outs on the base path, so he didn't exactly face a batter in the 4th. So in the 5th, he just had the walk, and then now he got the double with one away.
So it's going to be, actually, wow. How about that? They're going to intentionally walk Joey Weimer, and the disrespect that is being shown right now to Nico Cavadas is insane. So let's set the stage really quickly. They're going to put runners on first and second, and yes, this does bring the double play into play, but the guy they're going to bring up to the plate is Nico Cavadas, who has had a fantastic season so far. He's hitting .255, leads the team with 8 RBIs, and he'll watch a first pitch fastball in there for strike one.
And to a certain extent, I think this does make sense because, one, you have the double play ball with Cavadas at the plate. He's not exactly the fastest guy. And two, it is a lefty-lefty matchup, so this is the matchup that the Wareham Gatemen wanted, and let's see if they can take advantage of it.
0-1 pitch on its way. That's going to miss. A good block behind the dish by Dallas Beaver. So it's a 1-1 count on Cavadas. They do get the matchup they like, and for as amazing as Nico Cavadas is, he is not renowned for his speed. So is a risk at getting doubled up, but we'll see what happens here. Levi Prater taking a long look here from the stretch, checks in. He'll look the runner back to second, the 1-1 pitch, and that one's going to miss outside. Count to 2-1 here.
And after Cavadas, it is another lefty in Acton, so they do walk Cavadas. Obviously, it's not great to be in a bases loaded spot, but lefty-lefty once again.
The 2-1 count. Once again, looking the runner back to second, and he's going to miss again. Same spot, low and outside, and it's 3-1. So Levi Prater is at risk here of potentially walking the bases loaded with Cavadas up and Corey Acton on deck. Green light's on for Cavadas here with a 3-1 count. He stands in. Here comes the pitch. And he is going to rake that one, but well foul. So the count is full here on Cavadas, who today is 1 for 2, a base hit and a run scored, and then a strikeout back in the 4th inning.
And that one might just almost put a hole in that iron fence down the right field line. It was hit so hard. Straightens that one out and is able to get it down the line. Might be 2 runs with Weimer's speed and the distance that ball would have been hit.
So Fedko on second, Weimer on first, a 3-2 count. Here's Prater comes set, comes home. Big swing and a miss. Nico Cavadas is down on strikes, and that'll bring Corey Acton up to try to avoid making the 3rd out.
Yep, that's another one of those situations where splits can be so important. If you know a guy doesn't hit lefties well and you have a guy at the plate who torches left-handed pitching like Weimer, you put him on and then you take your chances with a powerful guy like Cavadas, but he was unable to get the job done, and now you have another lefty at the plate with 2 down.
So Corey Acton stands in. First pitch he sees. He's going to foul away, and the count is 0-1 here on the lefty out of Florida. Acton's here still pretty fresh into his Harwich Mariners campaign in 2018. Came into yesterday hitting a .167, 2 hits, but one of those 2 hits was by way of a home run. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. That one's going to miss low and away. It's going to get by the catcher, taking off for third, and in there easily is Christian Fedko, and it's going to be a passed ball here. 2 runners in scoring position with 2 away.
But of course, that is the issue we have with, or that's the issue you kind of come across with putting two runners on with, or putting a runner on and making a first and second, a pass ball all of a sudden, and you have two guys in scoring position.
It's actually Daniel Cabrera running for Christian Fedko over there on third base. This one's fouled away by Acton.
Interesting move going with a pinch runner. Now it doesn't really matter because he's at third and should score on any ball hit to the outfield. But, you know, Cabrera's speed, it was definitely an advantage if they wanted to continue being aggressive.
So Acton stands in. The 1-2 pitch is going to be in there for strike three right down the pipe. And that'll end the inning. But not before the Mariners get a couple on. Can't bring them across. We go now to the final third, or the final half of the final inning, hopefully, as the Mariners look for 3 more outs to put this one away and secure a victory in Game 1. When we come back, that's around the corner. Right after this, you're watching Harwich Baseball on the Mariners YouTube network. Back here at White House Field, Jacob Polish comes back out, and Colin, he's going to try to do something that nobody else on the Cape has done so far this season, and that's pitch a complete game. Although it will be a 7-inning game, still be a big accomplishment for Polish.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, and he's really earned getting that opportunity here in the 7th inning to go out and finish what he started, just holding a very potent Gateman lineup to 4 hits, and they really haven't felt at any point in the game any confidence at the plate. It seems like every time they have a base runner on, it hasn't really mattered because of the amount of strikeouts that Polish has logged so far in this one. So he's got 3 more outs to get. He'll face the 5, 6, and 7 hitters, a couple of lefties and a righty, and we'll see if we get any righties coming in to pinch hit and maybe try to get that first elusive run on the board and cut the lead in half at the very least.
So it's going to be Dallas Beaver, Matt McClain, and Benjamin Sems, pending potential pinch hitters, although McClain is over there in the on-deck circle. So the Mariners looking for 3 more outs to get back into their winning ways, as the first pitch from Polish will miss low in the dirt. Only a 2-run lead here. Mariners up 2-0, as they have been since the 2nd inning, where they were able to put up a pair of runs. Aside from that, nobody has come across the score for anybody in this game. This one's going to be in there for a called strike 1.
The Harbor Hawks were able to tie it in the bottom of the 4th, but Bourne adds another run, so they're back ahead 4-3 in the bottom of the 5th.
Squaring around to bunt and fouling that one off as Dallas Beaver trying to catch the Harwich defense napping. And now the bunt is completely out of the question, as with a 1-2 count, he'll have to get back on the barrel here.
It was Cade Beloso with a solo home run to put the Braves back ahead.
So the 1-2 count, Jacob Polish will focus up on the hitter here and try to put him away for out number 1. From the windup, here comes the pitch, and that one's going to be skied high in the air, but foul. We'll do it again.
Infield playing, the middle infielders especially, playing relatively deep, respecting Beaver's power. He's hit a couple of balls pretty hard, a line out to center, and then a fly out to left field.
1-2 pitch will miss low and inside, and the count is even at 2-2. So yeah, just trying to prevent any disaster here. Keeping everything deep. Be a 2-2 count here. Jacob Polish working into his pitch count. Here comes the pitch, and that one will be fouled away. So it's turning into a quality at bat here for Dallas Beaver.
And ready and waiting just in case over in the bullpen is Will Heflin if things get out of hand with Polish. He's in a pretty tough at-bat right now with Beaver.
Kind of surprised we haven't seen Heflin come in for one of these spot starts at any point this year. As the 2-2 pitch is brought in, that one's going to be taken up the right side for a hit. So that's what they needed. They get the leadoff man aboard here. And that will bring the tying run to the plate in Matt McClain.
Yeah, that's actually the first time all game that Wareham has brought the leadoff man on base, and as you mentioned, McLean, the lone righty in the lineup, he's got a lefty on the mound, and we'll see if he can take advantage of it and tie things up with one swing of the bat.
So a big at bat coming up for Matt McLean, who is 0 for 2 today, but he hit a shot out to left field back in the second inning. Aside from that, he's 0 for 1 with a strikeout. He's looking for his first hit of the day. Polish will go to the stretch, and he'll bring the pitch home. That'll miss low for ball 1.
McLean's got the power to clear the fence. He's got a homer on the season, also 8 RBIs, so he knows how to drive in some key runs for his team, and got himself a great spot here with nobody out in the final frame.
Polish comes to the belt, brings the pitch home. That one's going to be in there for a called strike on the inner half. Looks like McLean didn't like it, but home plate umpire Vicente Medina says, get back in there. It's a 1-1 count here. Runner on first, tying run at the dish, the 1-1 pitch. And that's going to just miss. Good breaking ball there out of Jacob Polish. That thing seems to have less and less life on it as the game goes on. Got to be careful not to hang one of those high.
And that one looked pretty good from here. I mean, it just must have just missed the backdoor corner, but still some decent movement on it this far into the game.
Polish probably looking for a double play here. The 2-1 pitch, that one's going to be jammed on the inside. Polish comes back, and this time he will glove it to make the make the catch for out number 1.
Yeah, that one I'm a little more okay with him trying to make a play on that one, as it wasn't hit all that hard and all that high. He just had to take a couple of steps back off the back of the mound, and he made the play. And, you know, worst case scenario, if he wasn't able to make the play, he had backup behind him. They could have gotten the force out at second base.
So 2 more outs left to get. Benjamin Sems and Mike Antico, the next 2 hitters up. Sems will stand in. He's 1 for 2 today, had the hit back in the second. Struck out back in the fifth. It'll be lefty on lefty. Polish back to an advantage here. But the tying run still at the plate. First pitch is going to be in there for a called strike, as maybe taking a little something off of that was Polish, and he gets it on the inside half.
Yep, good looking pitch from Polish, and was able to locate it well even this late into the start.
Sem stands in the 0-1, and that one's going to be fouled back to the screen. So for the first time this inning, Jacob Polish gets out ahead of a hitter, and he's got him in an 0-2 hole. Sem's going to have to put down the shovel and pick up a bat here. He's dug himself deep. Polish has looked very comfortable out of the stretch today. He's had a runner on in more innings than he hasn't. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. And Jacob Polish has just put himself on the doorstep of the Cape League's first complete game of the 2019 season.
Yep, another nice off-speed pitch. Got Sems way out in front. The second time that Polish has struck out Sems, and now it'll be down to Mike Antico, who has reached base twice today, but he's going to have to do it again if he wants to keep his team's chances alive of winning this first game of the doubleheader.
He's the only guy who has reached base in both of his at-bats today. Reached on an error in the second and a base hit back in the fifth. First pitch will miss outside for ball 1 from Polish. Antico does represent the tying run, as did McLean and Sems. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. That one's going to be hit high in the air, but foul, and that'll even the count at 1-1. Mike Antico trying to be the hero here. He's hitting .233 on the season. Polish comes to the belt. Checks the runner back to first. The 1-1 pitch. Check swing. They're going to say he didn't offer, so it'll be a 2-1 count here. That one just narrowly missing the strike zone. Dallas Beavers standing over on first base. Harwich up 2-0 here in the home half of the visitors' 7th. That one's going to be taken up the right side, and that's going to be another base hit here. So Mike Antico finds his way on. The tying run is now standing on first base, and the go-ahead run would be Tora Otsuka, who stands up now.
Yeah, solid day out of the 8-hole so far from Antico, picking up hits in each of his last 2 at-bats, and gives his 9-hitter Otsuka a chance to at least make it a one-run game with a solid base hit to the outfield, and maybe we have a pinch runner, and we do. So coming out is going to be the catcher Beaver.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to replace him with,
Chad Stevens, it looks like.
and everybody's coming in right now. A mound visit. We'll see whether or not they will leave Jacob Polish in to pitch this final batter. Tora Atsuka so far today is 0 for 2. So you get the feeling, not the toughest of hitters, but all it takes is one misplaced pitch, and that could spell disaster. And that is going to do it. Or no, they're going to leave him out there. Sorry. So Coach Engler will head back to the dugout, and Jacob Polish is going to be left in to face the final hitter here.
Yeah, I'm sure Polish wasn't about to try to give up that ball. I'm sure he told Coach Steve Engler that he wants to stay in there and get that final out, and he's going to have to try to get out Otsuka, who lined out back in the second, and then there was that weird play where he bunted out of the batter's box and was retired for out number 2 of the fifth.
So the pinch hitter, or the pinch runner, Chad Stevens, now stands on second base. Mike Antico on first. Go ahead run at the plate. First pitch is going to be in there for a called strike. Polish attacking the strike zone, and you can hear the crowd here at White House Field starting to get behind him.
Yesterday, John Fedko told us that need a big start out of Polish to have a chance at winning this game, and that's exactly what he's gotten so far, but he needs 2 more strikes to put the cap on it.
2 more strikes or a weak contact play. Tora Atsuka 0 for 2 today. Here comes the 0-1 pitch, and he will wait on that. It's going to be a called strike 2, low and away. So Jacob Polish has put himself just 1 strike away. He's got a couple of pitches to waste if he wants. Let's see whether he goes off of, or goes right at Atsuka here, or whether he wants to waste one. Atsuka stands in. He's fallen behind here 0-2. Wareham down to their final out. Harwich looking for their first win in a few days. Here comes the pitch. That one's going to be swung on and taken out into left field. It's going to be well foul into the Harwich dugout, and we'll do it again with the 0-2.
Yeah, if that ball got down in fair territory, it would have at least been 1 run, and then depending on how big the jump was over at first by Antico, he might have been able to wind up at third and represent the tying run in scoring position with 2-way. But once again, Polish with a chance to end this game with 1 more strike.
Atsuka hitting .353 on the year. He has not been on base today, but this would be the big opportunity for him. Polish comes set, the 0-2. Fastball will miss high, and the count is 1-2 here for Jacob Polish. Today the bullpen is not needed to be used. Polish looking for the first complete game of the year, and the Mariners looking to get back in the winning column here and go 9-12. Jacob Polish from the stretch comes to the belt and brings home the 1-2. That one fouled away, so Atsuka still fighting off pitch after pitch. Count stays where it is.
And that's the thing about this Gateman lineup is it's almost like anyone up and down 1 through 9 can find ways on base, whether it be through power or contact, or even like this at bat right now from Otsuka, where you just fight off a bunch of pitches and run the count high until you get a pitch where you can just kind of find a gap, and that's the dangerous part about Wareham.
Atsuka stands in for another 1-2. Polish the set, the kick, and that's going to be it. Swing and a miss, strike 3. They'll throw down to first to confirm it, and that's going to do it. Jacob Polish with the first complete game of the 2019 Cape League season, and it gives the Mariners a 2-0 victory here on a Saturday afternoon. We will take a break, and when we come back, we'll be right here to wrap it up. Harwich takes the first game from the Gatemen, 2-0, and you got it right here on the Harwich YouTube Network. back to White House Field. Here to put the cap on it, Tyler Henry and Colin Casey, and we're going to make this one quick as we'll have a quick turnaround, 30 minutes between now and the first pitch of the next game. So let's wrap it up here. It was a 2-0 victory for the Harwich Mariners, so for the time being, they will improve on the year to 9-12. That'll drop Wareham down to 11-10-1, and it was a phenomenal performance out of Jacob Polish. He was completely dominant, serves up the Cape League's first complete game, gives up just 6 hits, not a single earned run, no walks, Colin, and 10 strikeouts. He was completely on fire from the hill today.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you need out of a guy in a 7-inning game is a great start. But I'm sure this is not exactly what Steve Englert had in mind, but he will gladly take it. It's a complete game shutout, saving the bullpen for game number 2, and now you have all sorts of options in the second game. You mentioned Joe Boyle is the one who's supposed to get the start, but that might change now with the way this game went. Could go in any sort of direction, and it'll be interesting to see if the Mariners or what the Mariners do in game 2. But just a great start from Polish, and now all of a sudden, hopefully they can get a few more runs for whoever ends up starting game 2.
So Polish is able to get the win. He improves to 2-1 on the season. For JP Gates, he will drop to 0-2. Obviously no save as Polish goes the distance. And for the Harwich Mariners, they get a victory. 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error, 4 runners left on base. Wareham, no runs on 6 hits, 1 error, and 6 runners left on base. So Colin, we'll take a 30-minute break, and when we come back, it'll be a new stream and a new game as the Harwich Mariners will do battle with the Wareham Gatemen in game 2 of the doubleheader. All that and more is coming up right around the corner in about half an hour. You don't want to miss it. But Harwich gets the win in game 1, 2-0. Like I say, thank you once again for tuning in. We'll see you in a half an hour. You got this game live on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.